this cannabis fiber happens to be one of the most sustainable, durable, natural fibers in the world. And fashion is one of the biggest sources of pollution in the world. So it seems like you have a pretty amazing, clear solution for a very big problem.
That's Bernardo Carreira, founder and CEO of Hemp Shoemaker 8000 Kicks. This is the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast. My name is Eric Herlock, and today we're going to hear my conversation with Bernardo about the company 8000 Kicks. We're going to hear about the shoes and why he thinks industrial hemp is the right material to make beautiful, durable, eco-conscious consumer products. Today's show offers a unique look at the global hemp supply chain and a reminder that China is still the dominant player in hemp for textiles.
The first hemp we were buying was from France, then we were buying from Romania, but then we realized that the best hemp in the world was in China.
All that and more, but first a few words from our sponsors. This episode is made possible with support from Impactful Ventures, a public benefit investment company focused on supporting startups and other initiatives that play a vital role in mitigating the adverse effects of climate change. Impactful Ventures strives to empower those making a significant impact for a sustainable future. You can learn more at impactfulventures.org. That's MPACTFUL ventures.org. This episode is brought to you in part by I&D Hemp in Fort Benton, Montana, where they believe in the goodness of hemp. I&D Hemp is a family-owned, mission-driven, and environmentally focused industrial hemp food, feed, and fiber company, providing new opportunities for farmers and rural communities. Their mission is to provide innovative agricultural products and services to connect American farmers with the pioneers and businesses that see hemp as a way to bring real and lasting change to our communities and planet. Learn more at indhemp.com. Okay, welcome back. It's the beginning of March 2023. I'm actually recording this on March 1st. So here we go. In like a lion, out like a lamb. Well, not so much here in Pennsylvania. The weather's been a little weird. February was warm. We actually have daffodils blooming at my house right now. When I was a kid, daffodils bloomed in April, but so it goes. I mentioned last week that I recently moved into a new studio here at the Lancaster Farming offices in Ephrata, Pennsylvania. I had been working from home since the big COVID shutdown of 2020. And I figured I would just work from home for the rest of my life. You know, there was something nice about not driving anywhere, not going anywhere, just being able to graze for food in the kitchen whenever you wanted. But I have really enjoyed this change of scenery, being around people a little more often, getting a chance to break those old routines and make new ones. So I have a lot to be thankful for here at Lancaster Farming Newspaper, and I'm excited for the upcoming year. At the end of this month, I'll be headed to Colorado for the 9th annual NOCO Hemp Expo. If any of you are going and you want to meet up with me in person, let me know. Send me an email so we can coordinate. podcast@lancasterfarming.com. I met a ton of great people last year and recorded some fantastic interviews too, and I'm looking forward to doing more of that this year. I'm also going to be emceeing the Business and Investment Conference on Thursday, March 30th. At NOCO. It starts at 10 a.m., so I hope to see you there. You can go to nocohempexpo.com to get more information and to buy your tickets. Let's see, what else? Oh, yeah, make sure you listen to the whole show today. I have a surprise for you at the end that involves a pair of hemp boots, an Instagram giveaway, and one lucky listener. So more details after the interview. And before we get into the interview, I wanted to let you know about a special day that's coming up next week. March 8th has been designated by the USDA as National Bio-Based Products Day. Right? That's right up our alley here on the Hemp Podcast. The annual observance is intended to raise awareness of bio-based products, their benefits and contributions to the U.S. economy, says the USDA. I spoke recently with Bob Morgan. He is the state director of USDA's Rural Development Office in Pennsylvania. I spoke to him about Bioproducts Day, and he told me about an interesting grant opportunity that's kind of connected. It's an opportunity for farmers around the country called the Value Added Grant Program, which helps agricultural producers enter value-added activities to generate new products, create and expand marketing opportunities, and increase producer income. Here's Bob.
Well, actually, the value-added grant program in itself is designed to support producers that are doing something that changes the product that they grow. So originally, in the example of hemp, it starts out as a plant-based product, and then it finds a way to design something else.
In 2022, a Pennsylvania hemp company called Coexist Build was awarded money from this program to help the company develop their line of hemp blocks. Anna Konopetskaya and her husband Drew Oberholzer have been on the show before a few times, and they're doing some really cool stuff with hemp construction. But you know that because you've heard them on the show before. So anyway, this value-added producer grant program is part of the local agriculture market program, which has the cool acronym of LAMP, L-A-M-P. It's an umbrella program created under the 2018 Farm Bill. Producers can find other grant funding opportunities at the LAMP website. I'll have a link to that page on the show page for this episode at lancasterfarming.com. I was going to have a whole episode about this Bioproducts Day, but after recording the interview, I decided that our audience did not need to hear the guy from the USDA reading a script about government programs.
Some of the things we've suggested is maybe organizing, celebrations like, getting kids involved to maybe by holding a poster or story contest.
Anyway, I am wishing you a very joyful National Bioproducts Day, and I encourage all of you to explore the grant opportunities made available by the USDA. All right, let's get into my interview with Bernardo from 8,000 Kicks. Bernardo Carreira from 8,000 Kicks, welcome to the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely, yeah. I was excited to learn about your hemp shoes. I saw these beautiful like Chelsea boots made out of hemp. It was actually they were shared with me by Greg Necco at IND Hemp in Montana. I guess he got a pair and he's like, hey, check these out. So I checked them out, and then I found you, and I want to hear about these cool shoes. So welcome. Bernardo, will you please just give us a brief introduction?
Yes, of course. Super happy to be here because this podcast means a lot to me. I mean, because it covers a lot of the topics that I research daily on my business. So very, very cool to be here. So basically what we do is we do hemp shoes, hemp backpacks, and most recently hemp Chelsea boots as well. And we are totally focused in hemp, and our mission is to make hemp great again as it once was.
Right.
Yeah, it's a quote from Trump, but the reality is that, politics apart, we want to make hemp big as it once was, because it's our past, or bigger. It was our past, and it will certainly be our future.
Right. Good. Well, why don't you tell me about the company 8,000 Kicks and how you got started?
It's a funny story because when I started it back in 2017 or 18, I was not even aware, like most people, of the differences between cannabis, like smoking marijuana, and actual industrial hemp. And I just moved out of London. I was studying in Purdue. I was living in the US. I moved to the UK. I was working in the UK, and then I moved back to my small little village in Portugal. Well, I was investigating a lot of topics, and suddenly one night, it was like 5 a.m. after a few beers, a friend of mine came up with the idea of making a cannabis shoe, and we thought it was the most ridiculous idea ever.
You had no idea that you could actually make shoes out of the cannabis plant? Like it was just sort of a joke?
I knew that I could make it because I've seen wallets and backpacks made of hemp. I mean,
Okay.
cannabis. Let's say cannabis because back then I didn't know the difference. So I thought it was funny, and I decided, okay, let's try it out. I started doing some research, and then I was like, whoa, actually, this is a genius idea because this cannabis fiber is happens to be one of the most sustainable, durable, natural fibers in the world. And fashion is one of the biggest sources of pollution in the world. So it seems like you have a pretty amazing, clear solution for a very big problem. And this is a total game changer. And a total moment of serendipity hit my mind like, I gotta do this. Back then, I was still not 100% focused on the project. I was still like doing some other stuff. I started, okay, so very important moment. I decided to like go forward with like testing it more. So I asked the most knowledgeable person in textiles that I knew, which is actually my grandmother.
Oh, wow, that's convenient. Tell me about your
Yes.
grandmother.
Yeah. So basically, my grandmother, she's totally against drugs and all this. I mean, grandmother, right? And I go to her place and I asked her, "Hey, what do you think of us making cannabis?" And she's not very happy.
Oh, no.
Totally not. But then I was like, no, 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 but you gotta hear me out. This is like a really amazing, sustainable, durable fiber. So, and she was like, no, I don't want to do anything. I don't have to anything to do with this. This is absolutely a no go for me. And the next week, I just bought hemp. I brought hemp, and she was analyzing it, and she was like, wow, okay, this is interesting. And I was like, I told you. And she was like looking with a glass, looking at the weaving and stuff, and doing like her checks. And she has over 50 years experience in textiles. So when she gave it like, okay, this is interesting, I was like, okay, this is definitely interesting.
So you just handed her like a bolt of fabric, or how did you give her the hemp?
Yeah, I literally bought from back then it was a French supplier. It was not even a manufacturer, it was just a reseller.
Hmm.
And I bought like 10 meters from them. I
Okay.
brought it over to my grandmother's house and she was very interested in it. Literally like that.
And then what happened? So did you just start making shoes right away from that
No,
first piece?
then it was a very complicated process because I mean we have fiber. How do we transform that into shoes?
Right.
Um, we basically contact. I mean, Portugal has a big shoe industry, so we start contacting every single factory we knew and we didn't knew, basically trying to knock on doors. I think we visited like in the first 2 months, like over 100 factories. They gave us all no's until there was like a small factory, a small like atelier. That's what we call it, like a small garage that said they were willing to do some tests with us. Eventually, the product was very bad. That factory had to move to another one,
Okay.
but this factory gave us the first prototype. And from that first prototype, we got the first validation. And the first validation was amazing. A lot of people loved the concept and the idea. So
Right.
there was great feedback. We knew the product wasn't ready, but at least now we knew that there was people willing to pay for it.
Let's back up a little bit. I want to talk some more about your grandmother.
Okay, sure.
What's her name?
Otilia.
Otilia?
Maria Otilia, of course. Maria always.
Okay. And how does she happen to be so knowledgeable about the textile world?
Portugal has big industry in textiles. I mean, we used to make, before China, Portugal was making the world's textiles.
Hmm.
So we have a lot of, I mean, we still make, but not as much as
Okay.
before. And my grandmother was part of that process, was part of that industry. In my village, there is a local hub of polyester, cotton, wool manufacturing, and she was part of that. She was she was part of that, like stitching, weaving,
The
all
textile
like
industry in the
yeah.
village. Yeah.
She knew it all, and that's why.
Yeah. Did she help you design the shoes, or how did you design that first prototype?
Well, so she's not a designer. We had some help from a designer, but what she did gave us was the knowledge um of making sure every single detail was properly done. So immediately after we received the first fabric, she was very interested, but she said this fabric is not good for shoes. First, it's too thick. Second, it's not going to be durable enough. The dots on the fabric need to be closer
Hmm.
and more tight. Um, then you are not with this fabric thickness, you're not going to be able to bend the edges, which means that the fabric is going to start fray. So I was like, wow, how do you know all this? And I was like, well, because I've seen it all. So, and this is the kind of stuff that it's invisible for me. I don't see this stuff.
Right.
So this is the kind of feedback she gave me. She didn't, I mean, of course, she gave some tips. I think these colors, like, this is like earth tones. This will match like green or brown
Hmm.
or black, which are the colors we ended up with. But she did not like design the shoes, like the outsoles, the specific measurements.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So you got the prototype. You found someone in the
yeah,
nearby to help you make them.
yeah.
Where do you source the hemp from? Where are you getting the material?
So the first hemp we were buying was from France. Then we were buying from Romania, but then we realized that the best hemp in the world was in China,
Why is that?
because China was the only country in the world that never banned it. And this is very important to say because everyone else in the world, like the US, Europe, and they all got into this prohibition of like killing this plant once and for all, and like doesn't matter, just put them all in the same bag. And China's like, wait, what? We've been using this for like over 10,000 years, and now we're gonna ban it.
Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever.
So let's say they have the machinery that they have been using, and they have the knowledge that their generations didn't forget, and we are trying to relearn and bring back the machinery and bring back all this stuff while they just like, oh, really, you guys are doing this that we've been done. So they just have the quantity, the quality, the variety. They have it all, right?
If you had, your like in an ideal world, would you still buy it from China, or would you want to buy Portuguese hemp or more, closer hemp?
Yeah, one of the main reasons that we manufacture a lot of our shoes in China is because hemp comes from there.
You do manufacture the shoes in China?
Part of them, yes. The
Oh,
boots
okay.
are made in Portugal, though.
Okay.
So the masks as well made in Portugal. But it's very difficult for us to get the hemp from China if we manufacture in Portugal because first, containers are expensive. I mean, actually, not as much as they were before.
Hmm.
But also the lead times are crazy long, right? That's why we want to source the hemp locally. So just think with me. If we make the hemp in China, so we have a customer in the US, we make the hemp in China. So that means that we have to make the hemp for 2 months in China, just processing, weaving, not counting on all this time that they are in the land, just counting from the moment we pick it up, transform into fabric, and then we have to wait another 2 months for it to arrive Europe. Then we have to wait another 2 months for it to manufacture. 2 months for it to manufacture the hemp, 2 months for it to arrive Europe, 2 months for it to manufacture the shoes, and then 2 months for it to arrive our warehouse.
Oh, wow.
So if we sourced it locally, we could cut like at least 2 months, or at least we can make the hemp while we do some part of like the shoe processing.
Hmm.
So we could save at least 2 months. And it's not just 2 months, it's 2 months of cash flow, it's 2 months of, and this is a lot. And making the shoes in China is not ideal, but it allows us to ship directly to the US, cutting a lot of this lead time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a hemp industry in Portugal? Like, are
Yes.
farmers growing hemp? Yeah.
Yes, but not developed at all. I mean,
Right.
it's starting. There is no, I mean, there is hemp farming, but there is no hemp industry.
So how are your shoes being received? At home, abroad? Do you get support from your government for being involved in sort of like a bio-based product? Is there any incentives from the government?
There is a good question, yes and no. And the first thing that I have to mention is the fact that Portugal is a country in Europe which is sometimes it's very bureaucratic, taxes are high, but on the other hand, I mean it's much easier to do business in the US just because it's like a more forward thinking in terms of business. It's much easier in the US, but on the other side, Portugal gives a lot of funds to companies to go sell abroad,
Mm-hmm.
including they a lot of cases sponsor our trade shows. And if we are manufacturing in Portugal, they give us funds to buy machines. But still, it's a double-edged sword because they give you funds, but then they charge you twice as much on complicated bureaucracy, taxes.
Okay. Would
Yeah.
you ever consider bringing your business here to the U.S.?
Oh, we part of our business is already in the US.
Oh, there you go. All right, tell me more.
Yeah, no, it's our biggest market. We are incorporated in the US. We have a distribution center in the US, and because COVID has finally gone, we're managing to finally visit stores, show our product, and we already closed our first two shops in the US. So
Excellent.
finally getting our product in front of the customer, which is until now we couldn't visit stores. Stores were not even actually open to receive new products because COVID, right? They were closed.
Yeah.
But now everything is open and visiting stores, showing our product, getting there, getting to trade shows. So finally, it's starting.
Okay.
And the US, once again, it's our biggest market. So in the
Okay.
US, we're definitely very well received,
Good.
but still a lot of stigma.
Yeah, I mean, I think speaking for, the rest of the country here, I think we would love for you to manufacture the shoes here in the U.S. using domestically grown hemp. So I don't
That
know,
would be
just want to put
awesome.
that out there. So come on in.
That would be
Um,
awesome. But
yeah.
I want to do a big shout out to all the hemp farmers that we need better, stronger, and more affordable hemp because the thing is, hemp in the US, the industry of processing hemp, a lot of suppliers still get the hemp from China and the supply it here, which sucks. And then we also have a lot of hemp that is made in the US, but it's subpar to compare to China because they have all this machinery. So I'm calling out like let's get this done and I will be the first one to buy it from domestic hemp producers.
All right. You all heard that, right? Got a customer
Yeah.
here for you. So now, do you get like how far into like varieties of hemp do you get? Do you know exactly what kind of hemp needs to be grown for the output that you're doing?
No, I my knowledge doesn't go
Okay.
that low in the chain.
Hmm.
I know very specific what I need in terms of fabric and yarn.
Hmm.
Um, but I do not go that low on the. Yeah, I'm not that knowledgeable on
Okay,
that.
sure. I do know that there are a few
Yeah, right.
textile processors sort of coming online here soon this year. Next year. Like this is the early stage for
Yeah,
the domestic hemp industry, but it's coming on. So good.
yeah, indeed.
So Bernardo, why was it important to you to use hemp in the first place?
Very good question. So, hemp is the world's strongest and the most sustainable natural fiber. So first thing is the durability of the fiber. The audience is kind of already aware of all these stories about Henry Ford and the fact that the ropes and the ship sails were made of hemp. So that is very clear to the audience. Now,
Yeah.
a very strong reason as well is the sustainability, because cotton is one of the biggest sources of pollution in the world because of the fashion industry and fast fashion. Now with hemp grows very fast, and hemp doesn't need like such big long cycles to grow, and also it doesn't have the same impact on the soil. Doesn't need water as much water. It doesn't need like pesticides or herbicides. So the amount of energy input output that hemp has compared to cotton is much higher. The yields are much higher. So, I mean, we're talking about a plant that grows faster, needs less water, needs less herbicides, pesticides. The only disadvantage with hemp is the processing that it takes to transform it. Other than that, hemp is crazy good just because it is one of the only plants in the world that actually absorbs CO2 during the time that it's in the soil, compared to cotton that just compared to cotton and other plants. So the moment we start making the shoes, we already almost completely offset the carbon footprint that we had making them,
Oh, wow.
and that's incredible. That's
Yeah.
why we have only 4.1 kilo per CO2 emissions per pair,
Oh, wow.
while like a little pair of leather shoes will send to the atmosphere almost 100 kilos of CO2 per boot. So 100 versus 4.1. That's a big difference.
Okay, so sequestering carbon has never looked so stylish on your feet before. So, all right.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah,
All right.
that's a big reason. Yeah,
Okay.
sustainability.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Chelsea boot itself. Can you describe it and sort of talk about some of its features?
Yes. Uh, so basically, the Chelsea boot is our most recent launch. We launched on Kickstarter as we're raising funds to manufacture it in Portugal. And it's waterproof, very important for this time of the year. So it's going very well. We've raised 300K in 30 days so
Oh, wow.
far. So it's already gave us enough funds to manufacture the boots, but we still have another 30 days to go, and we want to continue pushing so that the bigger we get, the more momentum we get to make. I mean, to make a bigger production, set up things, and
Mm-hmm.
the more leverage we have after the campaign.
All right, so we should direct people to that Kickstarter.
Yes, indeed. Just type Kickstarter 8,000 kicks boots, and you'll find us for sure.
All right, and then what? People can purchase boots there or make an investment, or what happens at that Kickstarter page?
It's basically a product crowdfunding. So people will pledge towards a product. So it's like buying. Yes, it's like buying, but you get a big discount, and you have access to the team. You have access to, I mean, we're developing new prototypes, a new color. We just launched a new color of the boots because people were asking, "Hey, Bernard, we want this new color." So we work on that color. It's not like you cannot do that when it's manufacturing,
Right.
but when it's on Kickstarter, everyone can bring an input and we can consider it. And because the production has been done, so we still have time to change things.
Okay.
So that's a big advantage. But the discount is more normally what everyone looks. So we launched this campaign selling for 129 instead of 199.
Oh, there you go. That saves some money.
That's a lot of money. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it's not just about that. It's about supporting a, a business or a project that they identify themselves with.
Yeah. And you're part of a community then too, and that's important. We
Yes,
need that.
yes, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll put a link to that Kickstarter page on the
appreciate
show page for the episode. But keep describing the boots. So they're waterproof. They're made of
Yeah.
hemp. Tell me more.
They have a natural rugged sole, which is very important, and that keeps a very stable like fit on snow and ice. That's very important,
Mm-hmm.
especially for the folks up north. They are naturally insulating because of hemp, and then the fact that they have hemp insoles. We have developed one of the world's first hemp insoles, and they are very, very comfortable. But the fact that it's made from hemp, the insoles make them antibacterial and antimicrobial, which is also pretty amazing in terms of keeping your foot fresh and healthy, but also warm in the winter and cold in the summer. That moderating temperature insulating effect works really well with hemp, as people know. So that's a big feature for us. Then the fact that the boots come with a hydrophobic like core bands that makes them waterproof.
Mm-hmm.
The fact they have a coating making them easier to clean. And no shoelaces, that's also very important. They are like a Chelsea boot, so you just like pull
Slip
in,
them
pull
on.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
very convenient.
Yeah, well, they are good-looking boots. I saw them on the internet. I have not seen them in real life. Someday I'm sure I will. But I'm wondering, would you be willing to give a pair away to one of our listeners? Like, could we do some kind of drawing or raffle? Yeah.
I think that would be an amazing idea. Let's raffle one to the audience.
Okay.
So it on Kick on Instagram or Twitter or something.
Yeah, we'll figure out the logistics of it, and then I'll let the audience know, and then you and I can figure out sort of what needs to happen behind the scenes.
Yes.
But thank you for that. I think our audience would love
My
a chance to win a pair of these boots. Well, is there anything else you would like our listeners to know about either 8,000 Kicks or you or your grandmother or hemp in general? You know, what else would you like to share with us?
I mean, there's a ton of stuff to share. I can, if I had to talk to the audience, like I would also thank everyone for the effort they're putting into the industry. We are looking actually now to go to trade shows, and maybe NOCO is one of them. We try to find a schedule, but like normally when we go to the US, we try to put a lot of trade shows in a line, and NOCO is just like out of everyone's schedule. But we try to go to NOCO, so we try to go to a few other, and we've just been into the US last week. But I'm definitely hoping to meet more people in the hemp industry, because in the US I don't know as many people. But in Europe we already are like growing a lot because we're from here.
All right, Bernardo Carreira from 8,000 Kicks. It's great to meet you and to hear about your company, and I wish you great success.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it. And see you soon in the US.
Yes, looking forward to it. All right, so that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you for listening. And yes, we are giving away a pair of those Chelsea hemp boots from 8,000 Kicks. Go to our Instagram page at Industrial Hemp Podcast. Find the photo of the boots and like it. Really like it. And make sure you're following us and 8,000 Kicks and tag 3 friends. That's it. We'll pick a winner in a few weeks. All right? Easy enough. So good luck. And I admit I'm super jealous of whoever wins, because I'm pretty sure I would love a pair of these hemp boots. Size 9.5. I would wear them with pride. Anyway, my name is Eric Herlock. I am the digital editor at Lancaster Farming Newspaper, the greatest agricultural newspaper in the world. Check us out online at lancasterfarming.com. We've got lots of great stories waiting for you there. Not just hemp stories, not just farming stories, but all kinds of good stuff. So, okay, until next time, I will see you in the newspaper.
Industrial hemp.
Season 3, Episode 6 of the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast is copyright 2023 by Lancaster Farming Newspaper, part of the Steinman Communications family. Today's show was written and recorded, edited and produced by Eric Herlock, and the music you hear throughout the show is courtesy of Tin Bird Shadow.